the demon chef?
That's what they were calling me. A lot of people think I am arrogant, and I don't mind. I'm always successful in life. You know why? Because I can achieve anything.
Alvin Leung is a self-taught, 3 Michelin Starred chef, renowned for his innovative approach to Asian cuisine.
The television personality, restaurateur, and entrepreneur is famously known for bringing avant-garde Asian cuisine to the global fine dining stage.
Every chef's dream is to get 3 stars. It's the Oscar.
How did you feel about losing that 1 star?
The day I lost it, I was in Singapore, and when they announced it, my late wife wrote, "You're still 3-star in my books." And at the end of the day, I don't care how many stars your restaurant have. Being at the top means you can never stay there.
What was the biggest mistake you made in your career? Alvin Leung, welcome to Gents Talk. I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
I don't know. My name and Gents, don't make the same room, okay? So, well, I mean, the only thing I know about Gents is that's, where you go and stand in front of something and release water. But, no. So we're talking about, this is toilet. It's going to be dirty, right? Gents Talk.
Maybe. You know what? We'll see where it goes. No, but I'm really excited to have this conversation. I have, in my many years, have seen you on television. I think you're my mother's favorite television personality, by the way.
That's what they say. I'll sign the book. For her.
Yeah. I'm sure she'll be grateful to you. But this is an exciting conversation. This doesn't happen without our friends at Angel's Envy for helping to have these amazing conversations with people like yourself. And I mentioned it right off the top. I think the very first thing I want to know is, how did Alvin become the demon chef?
Well, I can tell you it's not by accident, because, in Hong Kong, they love to call, if you're very good at cooking, let's say, they'll call you the god of the kitchen. And, if you're good at gambling, they call you the god of the gambling or whatever. You see, the thing is, that's what they were calling me, the god of the kitchen. And then, to be quite honest, I was not comfortable with that, okay? Being a believer of a superior being and, a Christian, it is blasphemous to call yourself God. But if you call yourself the demon, that's not. And some people think, it registers somebody sinister and bad, but to be quite honest, I am all that. But daemon in the Greek means a playful spirit, and that's what I like to be. I like to be playful, and the spirit I drink.
Well, you certainly have the personality for it, and one of the things that stood out to me was that you started off your career not in the kitchen. You originally went down the route of becoming an engineer. So how many years were you an engineer for? Let's start there.
Oh, first of all, I'm very glad you did your research. I was an engineer probably for around 30 years. 30 years. I didn't start cooking professionally until I was 40.
Okay.
That's 2003 when I had the first restaurant, Bow Innovation.
Yep.
Everything came, I wouldn't say it's an accident, because nothing in life comes as an accident. I think, it was just the right place. I was at the right place at the right time with the right talent, with the right equipment. And the perfect storm came, and then, I am what I am today.
Yeah.
I enjoy cooking. I like creating. I'm an exhibitionist. I am different, and I think all that play into my persona.
What was it about cooking, or maybe let me rephrase that question. What was the moment that you said, you know what, I'm no longer an engineer, I'm now a chef? What triggered that transition?
When somebody offered to pay me. I mean,
it's always a good first step.
I mean, look, when you can sell your service professionally, it means something. And I think, when that moment came and I would say, wow, they actually will pay for it, then I say, well, maybe it's time to do a conversion, not a complete change, but to convert, which means a gradual change. I didn't become a chef overnight. In fact, it took a long time, and I may not even be a chef, okay, as even today, after, some 20-odd years, okay, because, I never went to culinary school, never worked in a restaurant as a chef or as a cook, and it was basically something I enjoy doing as a hobby. When's the first time I discovered I need to cook? When I first ate my mother's food. It was so bad, you better cook it for yourself, or you ain't gonna be skinny all your life like you, which not a bad idea, So I think everything happens. There's no such a thing. I don't believe in accidents in life, okay? I don't believe in accidents. I think it's something that a spontaneous occasion or spontaneous event can be converted into something that is worthwhile.
So the first time you were offered to be paid for your service and you walked on to the, I wanted to call it a set, but you basically walked into the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what you felt that first moment when you were like, okay, I am now a professional?
No, I forgot. I don't think these are things that are worth remembering in life. People have asked me, because I don't think something like that inspires me.
So what inspires you?
A lot of things, but not that. I think everything inspires me, not just, in my menus and all that, energy, any forms of creativity, any forms of anything inspires me. So it doesn't have to be an ingredient. It doesn't have to be a person. Okay, and if a person inspires me, it may not be the way he cooks. Maybe he's hardworking. Maybe he's rich. That inspires me to be hardworking, to get rich. A lot of things, people say, I get inspired by a lot of things. So, my menus has been based on Hong Kong. Countries has been based on person, like Bruce Lee. It has been based on events. So the thing is, I can grab everything out of the air and make something out of it. This is something that I discovered I was good at. And then I applied it to cooking. I mean, I could have applied it in a lot of things. But, obviously cooking, was easier for me because, I think I have I have the talent. I have the equipment. Okay, I got the stomach. I got the I have the taste memory. Okay, I mean, if I applied that to ice hockey, it might have worked. But I'm a bad skater. So I think everything in life is possible, or if you know how to use it and apply it. That includes your talent, your hardworking abilities, and your passion, which is way overrated sometimes. Okay, and
passion is overrated.
Oh, way overrated.
Why?
And your luck. Oh, why is passion overrated? Because at the end of the day, okay, if you have no talent, if you have no luck, what's passion going to bring you? A lot of dreams, but dreams are not reality.
But talent is that the key in your
Talent's
mind?
important. It wouldn't be the key. There's 5 keys.
What are the 5 keys?
The 5 keys, I think, number 1, not in order of importance, but I think talent is very important. Passion is important. Passion is useful. I wouldn't say it's important, but it's useful. Hard work, luck, and your connections.
I feel like hard work is pretty up there.
Definitely not for me. I'm lazy as hell, okay? It's pretty up there. Everybody can be hardworking, okay? Your horse, your dog, not your dog, okay? He's probably, sitting all day licking his ass. But I mean, your a lot of people can be very, very hardworking. You know what I say to people that works very hard? I say, maybe you're just not working efficient. And, or maybe, you just, I mean, look, it's not how much effort you put into it. It's how much you produce out of what little effort that you have to put in. That's, in the law of nature, is the lowest form. You want to go to the lowest form of energy. So, hard work is definitely, for me, not the logical direction, but, for other people who works hard, hire them.
So then what would be, if you were to rank those in an order?
No, I don't really want to rank them in order because it doesn't apply the same to everybody. Okay. But I would say, very important, you have to have talent. Now, everybody has some sort of talent, but whether that talent's useful or not, that's another thing.
Right.
But, and then you have to realize what your talent is. And then from that, you got to find something useful for that talent. And then from that, you got to find something that's unique, because being unique makes it easier for you to be successful, right? If you're doing what everybody else is doing, it's going to be a harder path. And I think hard work, as I said, you can always buy it. Hire somebody, okay? I mean, you don't have to plow the fields. You can hire somebody to do it. Connection, it's also very good, because, you're well connected. That's how we run this, life is like that. Never fair.
It's about who you know.
It's never fair. Sometimes about who you know. And I can tell you, luck is also very, very important. Even though this is something you cannot control. You can't control luck. But a lot of time, things happen because you got lucky.
But also you'd have to be in a position where you're prepared to seize the opportunity when luck sends you something.
You took the words right out of my mouth, okay? Is you got to have the bullets when you're ready to shoot.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the bullets, you don't. So this is why I say, don't put everything in one basket, because, you don't want to risk it all. And I'm not one who likes to risk it all.
Can we talk about the
unless it's your money.
You'll risk someone else's money. Okay. Can we talk about that moment where, after you started to pursue culinary, like the food industry a lot more seriously, it became sort of your profession. You've done the full conversion, as you called it. And then you went and opened up a restaurant. And that restaurant became one of the, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first 2 Michelin Star restaurants in Hong Kong. Do I have that correctly?
Well, I opened a restaurant and I got 2 stars right away.
Was that the goal?
No. The goal was to get 3. The goal is to get 3, okay? And then when you get 3, the goal is to keep it or go for something more, another 3, okay? There's never a goal for me, because a goal has a limit, okay? And once you reach it, you wouldn't know what to do, or you finish. You know what I mean? So I think the goal should be something that you can never reach, okay? Because you want something in life. You want to do something. You need something to go towards in life, okay? So if you have a particular point where you say, this is, I'm going to stop here, then what are you going to do afterwards? My friend, Umberto Bamai, he's 3 Michelin Star chef. You know what he said to me? Once you get 3 stars, the only way you can go is down. Okay, and that's not what you want to happen, right? That's not your goal. Your goal is basically you have to move it all the time. You got to move it further, okay, or move it so far you can't reach it, or every time you reach it, move it further.
So, what's your current unachievable goal?
I think she's dead. No, no goal is unachievable. I'm just saying move it ahead, so you're chasing it. If it's unachievable, don't chase it. Why are you chasing an unachievable goal? So the thing about an engineer, difference between an engineer to an artist, to an architect, whatever, we go for things that we can achieve, okay? Now, it may be quite close. It may be quite far. We may not have the technology to do it now, which is something you don't say anymore, because technology is so advanced and so far ahead of what our goal is, okay? In the old days, we used to wait for technologies to reach our goal. Right now, there's so much technology, we're looking for goals, okay, so that our technology, we're looking for goals for our technology. It's basically we're going the opposite way. We have so much technology, we're looking for things to do with it, rather than, waiting for technology to do things, all right? So we are in a very different world. I'm a dinosaur. I was born in 1961. Do the calculation. Okay, I actually, when we immigrated to Canada in 65, okay, early 65, I actually saw the Toronto Maple Leaf win their last Stanley Cup. All right.
It's been a long time since.
It's been a long wait, okay?
Yeah.
And if you're asking the question, what is an unachievable goal? Well, I mean, seeing them win a Stanley Cup, that can be, that's almost very close. That's almost close, being alive to watch the Leafs, even the finals.
Make it to the finals. Let's just go there. Or
that's
the third round.
That's my unachievable goal, okay? My seemingly unachievable goal. Who knows, okay? Maybe, there'll only be one team left.
It's automatically
and they
awarded
still won't
to them.
win it.
Yeah. Okay, so then what is the goal that you've pushed down the road?
I think the goal I push down the road is I want to get as much as I can in life. I want to experience new things. Okay, so I've done I've had 3 Michelin stars. I lost it. I'm only 2-star now, but I've done it. There was one time where I had a 3 Michelin star restaurant. Okay, and I'm still a 3 Michelin star chef because that follows me forever. I've done televisions, MasterChef. The new one's coming up. It's called the Maverick Chef, or the Maverick Academy. That's going to be in Netflix in Asia, November 8th. So look out for it. I'm being interviewed by this great channel. So that's the tremendous achievement for me. I would say, okay, that I just want to keep on. Okay, I think I've done it all. I've done all I want. There may be something more that I want, but I don't see it right now. Like do I need another 3 Michelin star restaurant? Do I need another TV show? Nowadays, I'll be honest with you. I just want to go. I travel. I fly 80 flights a year. That's a lot.
That's a lot of flights.
And, I have restaurants in the Middle East. I have restaurants in Singapore, Asia, China, North America. So right now, my only goal is try to, go home. So people ask me, where do you go on vacation? I said, Hong Kong. Okay. And I just want to see my grandson. He's 2.5. And I enjoy, his company. So
would you ever encourage your grandson to get into this business?
No, he would have a choice. My daughter the same. Okay, I say it's your choice. I wouldn't encourage you. I think it's something that brought me a lot of pleasure. But if I encourage him, it'll bring him a lot of pressure. And there's a difference between pleasure and pressure. So no, I don't encourage them to do what I've done, because the same thing when people ask me, what's the best advice you would give to a young chef, and I said, look. I don't know you. I don't know, what your talents are. I don't know what your motives are. So how can I give you advice based on, personally? I mean, I can give you general advice, okay? Which is basically, as useful as a hockey stick to a
Toronto Maple Leaf. What advice would you give young Alvin?
I would basically tell him that, you can't go back in time, so never regret, because you can't do anything about it.
Is that something that you struggled with?
No, I don't. To be quite honest, I've been quite lucky. I don't struggle with anything. But I think one advice that I do give to people, and I said, look, you're the best person to give advice to, yourself, because you know yourself. Okay? You've gone through a lot of things. You've gone through a lot of mistakes. What do you learn from your mistake? Okay? You don't learn from your mistakes not to do it again. I mean, we're humans. We're born to make errors, to make mistakes. And we'll do it over and over and over again. Okay? So let's say, so what do you learn? Well, you learn how to recover more quickly and more efficiently. So every time you make the mistake, you recover. You make another one, you'll recover faster, because you'll know the route of recovery. And that's all you need to learn, to recover.
What was the biggest mistake you made in your career?
Doing this interview.
Well, too bad you're here.
I made a lot of mistakes. Okay, And I can say, going back, I don't know. Because, one thing you try to do is, what do you want to remember your mistakes for?
To learn from them?
I know, but the point is, it's going to come to you anyway. So, the biggest mistake you learn from it. When the mistake comes, you're going to do it again. So the biggest mistake I always make is I'm impatient. Okay? If I was going to the Wizard of Oz, okay, and, I would look for patience. And I think, that's what I would want. So I think if I go back in my life 10 years from now, or, if I'm still alive, I would say I wish I was more patient. I wish I was more patient. But it's something that I don't process. And
is that something you think you can acquire?
No, I think this is.
Do you even want to acquire it? Has the impatience worked for you?
Well, it definitely scares a lot of people. I think it works for me in my own way. It probably won't work for you, but it'll work for me in my own way. And then, what you and what patients do for you will work in your own way. Because at the end of the day, whatever talent and whatever assets you have, just use it wisely. Yeah. Okay, and don't waste it. I think what I get angry is not people not putting in the right effort. I get more angry with people not putting in effort than not achieving anything. Because this is the best. Do the best you can, okay? And if you do the best you can, you don't get what you want, at least you're ahead of the game, okay? And the second one is, always put in that extra step. Always put in that extra step, because that's the one that's going to put you ahead of people.
That extra step, you mean the
extra effort, extra something, extra change. I remember the first dish I ever made was spaghetti bolognese. Okay, so I took hamburgers. So I think I was maybe 9 at the time. Took hamburger, and I took Campbell tomato soup. Okay, and then I just added some curry powder in, and everybody said, "Wow." Okay, so I took an extra step. I did something that was beyond the ordinary. I put an extra step, and it just brought me more attention. It brought me some attention. So at the end of the day, it doesn't have to be big things. It could be very subtle and small things. Okay, so just put in that extra step, no matter how big or how small.
To us, envy is a good thing. It motivates us in the pursuit of better. Like crafting a bourbon, even the angels would envy. Angels envy, worth the envy.
You talked about how the 3 Michelin star follows you as a chef wherever you go, regardless of the fact that the restaurant was received a
demoted, whatever.
Demoted.
I think it follows you. Is once you achieve 3 stars, you are 3 Michelin star chef, because the stars actually follows the restaurant. So if you got 3 stars in this restaurant, you cannot go to another restaurant and say you have 3 stars. You got to re-earn it. So the stars actually follows the restaurant. But I've achieved 3 Michelin star. So therefore, I can be classified as a 3 Michelin star chef. Okay?
So when the restaurant was demoted, as you put it, how did you feel about seeing that losing that 1 star?
I'll be very honest. I've been asked that question quite a few times, and I remember the day I lost it. I was in Singapore when they announced it, and everybody was very apologetic. And my wife, my late wife, wrote in her Facebook, "You're still 3 star in my books." And I think it took me about a minute to recover. And I said, that's not your ultimate goal in life. Your ultimate goal in life is to find happiness, find love, find someone who cares about you. And there's a lot of chefs say, 3 stars, that's why I ever want. I mean, once you get it, of course, it motivates you to get it. You get a lot of happiness based on that achievement, okay? Based on achieving it. But once you achieve it, how much does that bring you after you achieve it? Okay? I mean, you get married, you found a wife, you achieve something, you found your true love. That's gonna bring you so much more than getting 3 stars. And you're very happy, you got 3 stars. So what's next? Okay, now the pressure is on for you to keep it. Okay, so I would say that I mean that all of happiness or it's overrated. Okay, of course you're very happy. Of course people are going to congratulate you. Of course your ego, your head's going to swell double. But at the end of the day, think of what is that going to bring you afterwards. Okay, I'm not going to say misery. I'm not going to say pressure. I think and I think financially it's going to be quite helpful. But at the end of the day, get your priorities right. Get your priorities right. This is why I say, how did you feel? And I said, yeah, I felt great. But, it's not something that I'm not going to bring that, like next day I'm going to say, I got 3 Michelin stars. And I'm going to bring that happiness back. A lot of memories I had with my late wife, okay, it brought me a lot of happiness, okay? But that same moment when they gave me 3 stars, okay, is not going to brighten my day. Okay, I can tell you. Okay, and I'm not putting anything down on Michelin, because I think every chef's dream is to get 3 stars. It's the Oscar. But just think about it. When you got it, after you got it, what's gonna happen? Does it bring you more? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No, it doesn't for me. It may for you. It may for some other chef, but it doesn't for me. But I'm not saying it's not important. I think this is a goal that every chef should go for, because it's still the Oscar. It is still in our business the pinnacle, or whatever you call it. This is what everybody wants to get it. So I don't criticize, I don't badmouth them when they took a star from me, nor all of it. I'm very grateful. Be a grateful loser. Be a grateful loser. Be generous. When you lose, and when you win, be humble. That's my middle name, Mr. Humble.
It's hard to be gracious when you're losing. It's hard to contain the emotions, especially in a public setting. Like when it's a public thing when you lose a Michelin star.
Yes.
Your peers,
yeah.
your competitors.
Yeah, everybody's got to say, poor him, I can tell you, you want to know something funny? I got more people waiting when I lost my star, I got more people calling me than when I got 3.
Why do you think that is? It's an interesting thing that we
because
we have
everybody,
so many people that will reach out
because we love bad news.
Because
we love bad news, and they may call me because, hey, like you just lost a star, or they may call me out of true friendship. A lot of things happen. But I tell you, I got more people, because at the end of the day, okay, when you're at the top, everybody, you're a target. Okay, and to be quite honest, okay, that doesn't mean I don't want to be on the top. Okay, I'll be more than happy to be target. But I can tell you, being at the top means not a lot to me, because you can never stay there. You're going to be the top for 1 second. You can be the top for 1 minute. You can be the top for maybe 1 month. But sooner or later, you're not going to be there. And there's no real benchmark to who's the top chef. Is it the one that has the most 3 Michelin stars, or the most stars? Is it the guy who makes the most money? Who's the top?
It's a great question.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, there's no benchmark on who's the top. So why bother?
The message that your late wife left on Facebook, it's a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about her?
Well, we've been married for before she passed away, 38 years. That's a long time. So I wouldn't call myself the best husband in the world. I think there was a lot of time, but she was always someone who looked after my interests, someone who was willing to be on the background, because we all want to be famous, and when your other half is probably better known in public, and sometimes it creates other emotions. But I would say it's to me, you see, to me it's more important that whatever I do is acknowledged by someone, because to me, I see myself as, I can achieve anything. To me, achievement is not something that means anything to me if it's not acknowledged by members of your family, the public, or whatever. I mean, getting it means nothing to me, but it makes her proud. It makes people, if it inspires somebody to do what I did, or then I think that's a greater feeling than just getting it. You know what I mean?
Do you think she was proud of you in the way you showed up in the world?
Yes, I think. I know. I think, a lot of people was proud of me because, at school, I did well in school. Don't, there's no doubt about that, okay? Being an NSI student, okay, in University of Toronto doesn't put me on the, on the moron list, okay? But I think it's very important. There's a saying that I really believe in. You're not who you think you are. You're not what other people think you are. You're what you think other people think you are, okay? So if you put all that logic together, okay, I think it's very important that whatever I do, it's shared. It's shared, and I hope it's shared because, having these emotions, having these things for myself, doesn't mean that much to me. Okay, it takes a lot to impress me. I can tell you that much. Okay, so winning 3-star. Okay, I got it. Does it impress me? Yeah, I think it impressed me a little bit, but it's not my biggest. I wouldn't say that's my biggest achievement in life. It's not my biggest achievement in life.
When you say it takes a lot to impress you, I recently sat down with Eric, and he said that after winning MasterChef Canada, he went and basically worked with you. You were his mentor. What was it about him that impressed you? What was it, that specific thing that impressed you enough to say, I'm going to take a chance on this, as he described himself, home cook?
In a lot of ways, he's very much like me. Okay. He's a son I never had. Okay. So in a lot of ways, I find that, he's an engineer. He's probably much more hardworking than me. He's quite spontaneous a lot of times. So, I mean, I saw part of him in me. And I think, if you take something that is similar to me, apply me to it, then most likely you may get another mini me.
Right.
So I think I think that part, okay, is what that, and then, of course, I may be wrong. But then, after, I took him on tour. We did lots of television shows together. And then, at the end of the day, it clicked. He listens to me. I listen to him. It goes both ways. So it's a good relationship.
How do you balance when you call someone a mini you, and you feel you called him the son you never had? There's obviously a level of personal relationship that exists there. Mm-hmm. How are you balancing, as you're navigating the business world, balancing the personal relationship and your work relationship?
Well, at the end of the day, okay, they're all important. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's very important that the business we do together succeed. Okay, if not, then that's a failure. At the end of the day, I don't care how many stars your restaurant have. It's how much money you make. It's something that's the purpose of opening a restaurant, right? There's a purpose of opening business is to, achieve financial goals. So I think that's very important, and we have done that. In terms of personally, I think, there are times where he listens and there are times that he don't, but that's a relationship, okay? It doesn't always go one way. And, if it goes one way, sooner or later, something's going to break, okay? Something's going to explode. So I think up to now, and we've been over 10 years together, I being, and I say mentor. When I say mentor, I'm guiding him. Okay, but at a distance. Okay, I'm not holding his hands. I'm guiding him at a distance because I need him to grow. Okay, I need him to grow. And if he can grow better than me, fine. Then I achieve more in life. But I don't, I'm not guiding him basically, through dictatorship. So, just semi-dictatorship. And he listens, but, he listens because we're both engineer. So when we talk in logic. We talk in logic. I say, and we speak the same language, logical. If you do this logical, it may not work. I'm not gonna say I don't think it's gonna work because it's my gut feeling. That doesn't apply to me. There's no such a thing as gut feeling. You feel it because it's logic. Okay, everything I do is logical. Okay, it's very important. Logic, but that's the only thing we know for sure. That's a sure thing, right? Logic. If it's your gut feeling, that's not a sure thing. I mean, it could be 50-50, it could be 40-60, it could be 30-70, right? But if it's logic, it's 100%, almost 100%.
You mentioned how you feel you may not have been the best husband, which I presume was while you were really sort of in the full scope of everything you were doing. Eric said something very similar, where he said, he's got a new child, and he's trying to balance his personal life with his work life, and he feels an overwhelming sense of guilt sometimes that he's not being present for his family because he's also trying to take advantage of all the different opportunities that are coming up.
Oh, he's got 3.8 years experience. I got 38, okay? So I would think, feeling it now is good. It's good to feel it now. And I think, yes, sometimes you're always going to feel guilty, but there's sacrifice in life. Life is full of sacrifice. And I think as long as his family understand it, as long as he's getting support from his family, his wife, his child, his parents, his friends, and me, as long as you're getting that support, okay, then you can, maybe feel a bit guilty, go away. But at the end of the day, in this business, where are you on Valentine's Day? Where are you on Christmas Day? Where are you going to be on Saturday? Where are you going to be? You're going to be at the restaurant. Right? On Valentine's Day, you're most likely not going to spend it with your girlfriend or your wife or, or whatever, right now,
I think isn't that the challenge then? That's the challenge of the industry itself?
No, I don't think it's a challenge. It's not a challenge, okay? Because the point is, it's going to happen. Come on, don't think for 1 minute, okay? You want to be a successful chef. You want to go up in the world. You're not going to work on Valentine's Day, all right? It's not a challenge as such. It's something. It's part of the job. It's part of the job, okay? It's part of the job. And it's not like you're going to say, I'm going to close my restaurant on Valentine's Day so I can be with my wife, because you got a complete idiot, because you can't even afford to pay the bloody rent, okay, to house your wife and your kids, okay? At the end of the day, we all have to do things we don't like. Okay, it's always great if you go to work happy every day and you come home happy every day, but that's not going to happen, all right? And I don't care what you do, okay? It's not going to happen. Even if you do nothing, that's not going to happen, okay? So logically, don't forget about it. You can't have your cake and eat it, okay? I think you just need to balance it and try to maintain a relationship rather than have it go completely one way. Okay, At the end of the day, what good is it, okay, if you are so successful, but at the end of the day, you're the only person in the room? Okay? I mean, to me...
Isn't that seeking external validation, though?
No, I don't. I can seeking external validation, but that's part of our life, okay? We can't exist by ourselves. Like, what are you going to do? Exist by yourself? You can't. You exist with a lot of people. You exist with people that are close to you. You exist with people that are not close to you. You exist with people who likes you. You exist with people who don't like you. So the most important thing is try to get the people who don't like you, okay, to like you, and try to get people who like you to be loyal to you. Okay, that's what you want, right?
For the people who don't like you,
there's a lot of those.
What is it about Alvin that makes you unlikable to people that you work with?
I think I can be extremely arrogant. Okay, and I can tell you, I can get extremely passionate when, as you've seen in, episodes of MasterChef, when things don't go the way it should. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying if it doesn't go my way. I'm just saying the things that don't go the way it should. Okay? And, and there are lots of people, I'm pretty sure they're jealous of me, and they say, hey, here's a person who started with nowhere. He just came out of nowhere. He never went to culinary school. He never worked in a restaurant, but he's relatively successful. How did he do that? I think it's all hype. I think it's not all hype, okay? It's planned. So there's a lot of person that do not like me, and there's a lot of person that like me, and hopefully there's more people that like you than people who don't like you, okay? Because if there's a war between the person who likes you and the person who don't like you, okay, you're gonna still end up with some people left who likes you.
The culinary school piece, is that, even Eric talked about it, he was a home cook. Do you need to go to culinary school? Is that a thing? Is it like...
I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say yes because I think there would be some advantage if we went to culinary school. There is some disadvantage maybe because we may be set in our way because rather than going to culinary school, we went to university, we become engineer, we think differently, we think out of the hat more, and therefore we are rare. Okay, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you can say, we didn't go to culinary school, so it took a bit more time for us to really bring our craft up to the standard. Okay, so he was not a success overnight, neither was me. Okay, and I think in a lot of times, in terms of standing being over time, I think more cases of people who went to culinary school will be in this industry longer. A lot of people who didn't are just overnight sensation. Okay, I mean you can read the statistics. I think statistically, if you went to culinary school, you may not be unique as such, but you'll probably be able to maintain the industry because you have more things that can put you in the industry.
Right.
Okay, so I cannot say that culinary school does not help or you don't need it because look, you got Steve Jobs who never finished university. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you say, look, do I need to go to university? And I would say, for me, I would recommend everyone go to university. A lot of my chefs, actually, Eric and a lot of my other chefs, that have achieved very high standard, went to university as well. Okay, because I think it develops their confidence, it develops it changes their thinking methods. Okay, and I think it does help. But then, you're educated for 30 years of your life. It doesn't give you much time. But, nowadays, you have chefs that are very successful, very, very young in life. And then you have and then you have, in the old days, you went from apprentice upwards. Okay, so I will not crucify culinary school. But I'm saying that it's just one of the tools. One of the tools, and it's an important tool. Okay, I mean, it's I don't know. It's like putting together IKEA. You need the screwdriver, but the screw is also very important. Well, a screwdriver is no good if you don't have the screw, and then you need something to screw into.
You said you had an interesting line. You're not who you think you are. You're not what people think you are. You're what you think people think you are.
Well, I'm glad you remember all that.
So what do you think people think you are?
I think a lot of people think I am that persona on TV. Spontaneous, angry, mean. Okay? I think they all think of me this way. And I don't mind, okay? Because when they see me in real life, they're surprised. They say, hey, he's a teddy bear. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? So I think people think that I am a person that I'm not. Okay? And I may...
Was that intentional?
I think the element of surprise always create a lot. You get a lot more from the element of surprise. Okay, so you know if you got a gift from someone that was a complete surprise, I think you would value it and you would enjoy it more. So the element of surprise to me is always a good weapon. So you know, and it's always good to be underestimated, because if people underestimate you, then, you know, they become fearful of you. But if they overestimate you, then they actually do not become fearful of you, because basically you're not what they thought you were. Do you know what I mean? So it's always good to maintain some sort of mystery and some sort of being the underdog. I think that's always good. Okay? But, you know,
when was the last time you were the underdog?
Well, I think I'm the underdog lots of time. I'm the underdog lots of time. But nowadays, you know, I mean, you know, in terms of cooking, I don't think you would. I'm I'm not going to be the underdog. I'm going to be the favor. So I think, you know, I don't recall the last time, you know, I'm an underdog. I mean, it's the same as, you know, you want to go something in life, go for something you can achieve. If you go for something you can achieve, okay. So I'm saying I'm always successful in life. You know why? Because I go for things I can achieve. All right. So, you know, being that, you always be successful in your own mind.
Tell me about the new restaurant.
Akin is, you know, the def. I mean, we put a lot of thought on that, on the name, because, you know, Eric wanted to call it 51 Coburn Street, and I said, what a stupid name. Okay, like that's your bloody address. Okay, you know, like, yeah. So I think, you know, so.
What does the name mean?
Akin means, you know, relation, in blood, or in blood, or in act, or
like kin.
Yeah, like a kin, like a kin. So I think it's basically a inspiration or a tribute to the relation between Eric and his grandfather, who he got a lot of inspiration from, because he's a dim sum chef, very, 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 you know, respected dim sum chef, and his relationship with me. So you got a blood relation, and you got a relationship that is purely on what did I say before? I forgot. You know, either blood relation or a relation that just, you know, that's not
just
blood,
through a bond,
just a bond. So I think that is the deep meaning of a kin. And also, you know, you want names that are easy, and, you know, we're going to be the first on the telephone book, and you know, I think one word names like Bo, Akin. Okay, these are things that people remember. You know, you don't want to call it, you know, the relationship between Eric and Alvin, and Eric and his grandfather. That's the sign. You know, that sign on the. It's going to cost more money to make. You know.
What are you hoping? How many restaurants is this now for you? When Akin opens,
I honestly, a lot, but I don't. Offhand, I would have to start counting them. I don't remember how many restaurants I have offhand.
You have to have a team, I assume.
I definitely have to have a team. The whole thing is the success is your team. It's how you run your team. You can't do all this by yourself. You know that.
So how do you cultivate a good team?
I think, first of all, underpay them. But, you know, you got to have people. You see, at the end of the day, you cannot have your cake and eat it. So if they're very talented, most likely they're going to be, you know, it's like the British soccer team. Okay, they have all the talents in the world, but they haven't won anything since 1966. Same as Toronto Maple Leaf. But the Toronto Maple Leaf,
we have 1 year on them.
So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you got to know. I see. I play my team like a chessboard. Okay, so you got the bishops, you got the rooks, you got the queen, you got the king. They all have positions in life. They all have certain advantage and disadvantage, and you have to know it all. And once you know it all, then you can put together a efficient team. There's no such a thing as a perfect team. Okay, that doesn't exist. But an efficient team, because you could have the perfect team and then one guy quits. So it's no longer perfect. So how long can you keep that? Okay, and there's no benchmark for the perfect team. So I think a lot of times, like, I was the president of the Bookstore, the culinary contest in Lyon every 2 years. So I'm very active. I try to advise the team, and sometimes you have to be dictatorial. Sometimes you say, look, here position the economies. Okay, so I'm not going to listen to them as serious. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to listen to them, because even the lowest form in life can give you some, can bring you some inspiration. But the chances are very low. Okay, so I wouldn't put your year, I wouldn't lay your year on the ground and look for inspiration from an ant or something like that. Okay, you may get stamped on. Okay, but I'm just saying that I think your team is very important, because you only have one person, and multi-restaurant, how am I going to handle all this? But I think you do need a team. Loyalty means a lot to me, but if it's inefficient, it also takes away from it.
So how do you reward loyalty? How do you specifically?
I think you have to reward them by knowing them. So some people are motivated by finance, and some people are motivated by attention, or motivated by what do you call acknowledgement. So I think, a lot of times nowadays, I don't like to put my name in all the restaurants. I want, whoever's there to get some sort of acknowledgement, because once you get that acknowledgement, you're now bitten by the success bug. Okay. Once you get acknowledgement, once you get that, you're bitten by the success, but which will drive you to do more, to work harder. And so people ask me, what is my main motivation? What drives me? And I would say success. Because, if you're not successful for 10 years and you're still working on it, you know what you are? You're an idiot. Or you're blind. Or both.
Yeah. One final question for you. I know you said that you don't, because you can't really give advice to people because you don't know them. But from what you're seeing in the industry overall, a young chef comes to you and says, Alvin, you don't have to know me, but I'm starting in the industry today.
Okay. As I said, I already gave you the second half. The second half was you're the best person to give advice to. Mm-hmm. So basically, in every single steps you make, or every single cycle, whatever, go back and reflect and give yourself advice on the next cycle, okay, that you would do for you to go through it with more success. Okay, so always reflect on what you have done. Yeah. So you're the best people to give advice to. Okay, that's the first part. Okay, the second thing I would tell you as a general advice, okay, is to go and find a homeless person. Okay, find a stinky one that smells like camembert. Okay, and ask him, okay, what made him successful in life, and don't follow his advice. Because sometimes finding out what not to do is just as good advice as finding out what to do. Because if you're not doing something that's bad, then you will end up doing something that's good. So a lot of times it's easier to tell yourself what not to do than to tell yourself what to do. Because when you tell yourself what not to do, obviously it's proven, okay? If you follow this advice of this homeless person who smells like camembert, okay, you're going to probably end up like him, and you don't want to do that.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
And the second thing is, okay, but that's a joke, okay? But, you're supposed to give a joke. I haven't given one yet, okay? But,
Well, you've made me laugh quite a bit.
I know, but that
was a joke, everybody.
I know, but you shouldn't be smoking while you're doing this interview. But the second one is a joke because I can tell. I say, find the happiest married person you know, okay, and go to his wife, and you find out she's dead. I mean, that's a bad one, but that's a bad one. But I mean, you laugh, okay? You shouldn't be laughing at those jokes.
No, it's not a funny joke. That was awful, Alvin. Terrible. Thank you so much.
No, it's my pleasure.
Thank you for stopping by.
I had a lot of fun.
Yes, it was an interesting conversation. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go, but it was fascinating and interesting just to get your take and your perspective on a lot of the things that you've accomplished and the route that you've taken in your life. I think there's an element of refreshing, if I can put one word to it, because you're definitely passionate, even when you speak, and you're very particular about how you feel and how you view the world when it comes to certain things. But I respect that you stick to it because you know it works for you. And so I think that was the biggest lesson takeaway for me from this conversation. So thank you so much for sharing your time with me. I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you to our friends at Angels Envy for helping to make this conversation happen. And Alvin, I wish you the best of luck with the restaurant opening. Not that I think you need it, because something tells me you've logically thought of every possible scenario. But let's do a part 2 one day.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And make sure when you write my check, you date it right.
Alvin, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Gents Talk podcast. I'm your host, Samir Mourani. This week we sat down with chef extraordinaire Alvin Leung, affectionately known as the Demon Chef. He's a Michelin Starred chef. He's opened a number of restaurants, apparently too many for him to count. And I'd like to take a moment to recap what we discussed in a quick episode reflection brought to you by our friends here at Angels Envy, Canada's #1 super premium bourbon. Refreshing is the word that jumps to my mind here. Alvin is unapologetic about how he approaches the world and how he sees the world. But he's also very particular about how he does things. From his approach to opening up a restaurant, to his approach to running a restaurant, to how he selects his chefs, and to the fact that he decided to go from an engineer background to opening up a restaurant, and that restaurant, that first one, immediately receives a 2 Michelin star rating, is incredible. There's so many lessons in there, but I think it also speaks to something similar to the conversation we had with Eric, where finding the right balance between what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're willing to do for your personal life is a tricky line to walk. And I think we can all resonate with that, where we're constantly trying to figure out, how much am I going to put into something and what's the cost of that something? When he talks about the different layers of what it takes to be successful, from talent to hard work to luck, all of those different things combined, I think, allow someone to get into the most successful position. And that was something that Alvin was talking about quite regularly on this episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. Make sure you tune in next week at 2 p.m. Eastern, because we drop these episodes every week. And I have something I just want to say to you, the viewer. Thank you for doing what you do to help us and support us continue to have these incredible conversations. Week after week after week, we have these amazing guests. And every time you like, subscribe, follow, all that does is further gives us the motivation, the excitement, but it also helps us continue to have these amazing conversations week after week. So thank you for what you do. If you have not done any of that yet, please, that will be the only thing I ever ask of you. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you to our friends at Angels Envy for making this amazing episode happen. I hope you have a wonderful day. Cheers.